We'll just sit up, sing my grace.
Hey everybody, so I am back to discuss episode 2 of the final season for Bounce TV's Saints and Sinners, and I have to stop and say thank you to everyone who has viewed my discussion for the first episode of this final season, and especially thank you to those who left comments in the comment section. You all had me going with the speculations, the jokes. I loved it all and I truly appreciate it. Thank you to those who assisted me with the names of some of these characters on the show because I honestly forgot since season 5. So I appreciate all of you and I want you to know that I do read the comments and I do thank you for participating in these discussions. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the episode opens up with Ella and this guy who honestly when I was doing this video, I was trying to figure out who he was and what his name is, and then I had to laugh at myself because clearly the first scene shows a nameplate on his desk and the nameplate has his name on there, Tom Hayden, as well as his job description, district attorney. So yeah, I definitely had to laugh at myself on that one. Anyway, Ella is a special prosecutor, so she's working with the district attorney to figure out who is responsible for this organ harvesting ring. And I did not realize that they had Dr. Kevorkian, not that Dr. Kevorkian, this Dr. Kevorkian in custody. So in this episode, we see that Ella and Tom Hayden, they go around and they're interrogating individuals who were a part of this whole situation, like Paige, but Paige made a little joke in regards to not remembering what happened to her, but remembering that she was hit by a car by someone. And of course, we know the person that actually hit her with that car was Ella. And Paige basically was letting her know in that interrogation, like, yeah, I can blow this whole spot up if I wanted to, so you need to relax. And that is when Ella did fall back on interrogating her and just kind of let her go. Then there was Ella's daughter, Christy, who was interrogated by the district attorney. And Christy did a great job of playing the role of the damsel in distress. Perhaps she was a victim in the beginning when she was forced to even be a part of the whole situation. But we all know that Christy became very quite fond of the money she was being paid to participate. And it seems as though at one point or at some point she started to accept what she was doing. However, when it came to seeing that Paige, someone she knew, was a victim, then she gained back her humanity. And I would say this too, you could definitely tell that Christy is her mother's daughter because her and Ella know how to work their acting skills, especially when it comes to pretending like they did not do something wrong. Last but not least, to be interrogated by the district attorney and special prosecutor is Dr. Kevorkian. Now, listen, if you have been watching my discussions on Saints and Sinners in the past, then you would know that ever since I've seen Dr. Kevorkian on screen, I have been calling him Dr. Kevorkian. I couldn't even tell you what his actual character's name is. I personally call him Dr. Kevorkian. But anyway, Ella interrogates the doctor to try to find out who hired him, who's basically at the top of the organ harvesting ring. And he gives her names. Reluctantly, he gives her some names, and those names include Ray, Leona, and Christy, to which Ella pretty much threw out his testimony because when the district attorney returned into the interrogating room and asked Ella if the doctor had dropped any names, she told him no. In my opinion, I feel as though Ella did this mainly to protect her own daughter Christy, but at times Ella protects Leona, and I feel like it's not just because Leona is her mother and they have this kind of bond, but more so because of the fact that Leona has far too much dirt on Ella for Ella to ever allow Leona to go down. Plus, whenever Ella thinks she has her mother in a corner, backed into a corner, Leona shows her otherwise. And speaking of Ray, Mr. Some things are so good you have to say it twice. Well, if that's the case, then that would explain why my family calls me Nene. But anyway, nonetheless, Ray is making himself a little too comfortable in Cyprus as he continues to make his way into that territory and attempt to just take over it. And we see him making his rounds. He is hitting on Josie, and shout out to the viewer subscriber who corrected me. Her name is not Chelsea, it is Josie. Thank you for that. We see him attempted to make a pass, I guess you could say, at Josie, but I don't believe that Ray has any intentions of trying to be with Josie. I feel like he's playing her, and I also feel like if he wants territory in Cyprus, he definitely wants her night bar club, whatever it is. And in this episode, Ray Ray just could not stay away from Jabari and Paige's home. We know that Jabari is upset with Paige over the fact that Ray Ray was the one that got him released for prison. In Jabari's own words, he would have rather stayed in prison and faced up to what he had did to his mother. And this whole thing between him, Paige, and Ray Ray is causing Jabari to just pretty much lose it at this point. And apparently, Ray Ray and Paige have some sort of history. Here is my observation. I feel like perhaps back in the day, Ray Ray was some sort of big timer even then, and apparently he must have been looking out for Paige, but also, whatever they had, it was romantic, and Paige must have really loved him, and apparently he loves her too. And unfortunately, he still has some sort of hold on her to this day. But don't get it twisted, because I'm not saying that Paige is innocent, as if she really cared about Jabari, she would not have turned to Ray Ray to get Jabari out of prison. And that's just my opinion. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. But I honestly don't feel like she cared enough about Jabari to sit up here and bring a old flame back into the situation when she knows how the old flame operates and has even told Jabari about it. So I don't know. This whole situation is just crazy. But Jabari is not standing for it, because in this episode, he leaves Paige, which I know was probably hard for Jabari to do because he is very loyal to Paige. And the reason why him and Angela even got in the position for Angela to be pregnant by him is because he genuinely thought that Paige was dead. And Angela came along when he needed her. She consoled him and was there for him as he thought. And so it seems as though Jabari has no problem giving his loyalty wherever it is given back to him. So Jabari ends up leaving the home, and it leaves Paige pretty much vulnerable, and she goes off to try to find out if she could have any more children, because when she was in the organ harvesting ring's possession, she was being experimented on, and they took some of her eggs, but she later learns that she is not able to have any more children. Now, in my opinion, I feel like she wanted to have another child for Jabari because she knows that Jabari is mad at her because of the fact that she got rid of Angela, who was allegedly pregnant by him, and maybe she thought that having a child by Jabari or letting him know she wanted another child would keep their marriage together, would keep him back with her instead of him being upset that she got rid of Angela. But unfortunately, it's not working out in her favor because she learns that she's not fertile or cannot have any children due to that situation, unfortunately. So right on time, Ray Ray appears at the house and he consoles her, and then he makes a pass at her, and it doesn't look like Paige or Queenie was attempting to push Ray Ray away. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jabari learns of the fact that she pretty much just cheated on him by kissing Ray Ray in their own home, mind you. And like I said, Jabari has a habit of being loyal to everyone who isn't loyal to him, because it seems as though he runs over to confide in Rex, and Rex and Jabari has had their issues, but from my understanding, Rex was pretty much the one that mostly raised Jabari. But something is going on, because there was someone in prison when Jabari was in prison. There's a man by the name of Marshall who approached Jabari about his father, and the things that Jabari was told about his father from Rex seemed to not have been the truth, because the man Marshall pretty much told him like, hey, your father went out like a punk. So Jabari inquires about this with Rex, and Rex is telling him like, don't worry about that, it's all in your head, you're going through all this stress with Paige, just go chill, nephew, go take a nap, go lay down, I got you. Next thing you know, we see Rex at the prison talking to that very same gentleman Marshall, who is behind bars, and he confronts him in regards to what he said to Jabari, and he's like, why don't you leave it alone? And so the Marshall guy says, well, he deserves to know the truth. But apparently Ray Ray hired Marshall. Ray Ray got pulled. Ray Ray got pulled. So this is going to be an interesting season, because we are seeing that Ray Ray definitely has pull. But my question is, what is it that Rex is hiding about Jabari's father that he doesn't want Jabari to know? Apparently the story is that Jabari's father died when he took a bullet for Rex. But according to this Marshall guy, that is not the truth, and apparently Ray Ray must know the truth. And if Ray Ray really wants Jabari's world to come crashing down, he's going to get that truth to Jabari. But right now, I feel as though he's just taunting him. And of course, we got some other episodes to go, so they got to drag this out. Anyway, I also want to highlight there was a scene where Jabari was telling Rex, like, listen, you don't know what it's like to raise a child and have to one day tell them all the bad things that you've done in order to protect them. And when he gave that speech and the camera cut away to Rex, I was wondering if Rex has been the one that has taken care of Jabari this entire time. Was that supposed to be a sentimental moment in this episode because of the fact that perhaps Rex actually does know what Jabari is talking about? Maybe not with his own biological son Kendrick, but actually with Jabari because Jabari's father did pass and Rex pretty much raised Jabari. But anyway, getting back to the man of the hour, Ray does show up at a hangout spot of Rex's, and mind you, Rex did approach his hangout spot too. So these two are not afraid of one another. However, I do feel as though that Rex is starting to really take this whole thing with Ray serious because he sees that Ray may truly be a worthy opponent, and Ray definitely has his pool. So this is going to be very interesting. It is very clear that Ray is not afraid, even though he has made Rex aware that he knows Rex was responsible for killing his man. And he has also made Rex aware that he was indeed responsible for stealing Rex's shipment and pretty much setting Rex up. And even the man Marshall that's in prison even warned Rex about Ray. So this is going to be interesting. Apparently, this is definitely Ray's season. It's the final season, but this is definitely Ray's season. And who knows? I mean, I'm going to go on the limb and say we may even have to worry about Jabari because maybe Jabari will get to the point where, he learns the truth about everyone around him and he may become the surprising threat of the season that we didn't even consider. Then there is Kendrick, who has been in Athens looking for the family of his late fiancee Stacia, and he discovers Anna, who is apparently Stacia's twin sister. Now, I don't know where they're going with this storyline. I'm very interested to see how this goes, but apparently Stacia and Anna has lived two totally different lives where Stacia, I believe, was an attorney raised by a really well-to-do family, and it looks like Anna was not. So, with that being said, Anna is an exotic dancer, and apparently Kendrick wants to save her, which she is taking great offense to. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. So, I really don't have much to say on that right now. With that being said, I saved the best for last because I know I talk a lot of stuff about Leona, but when I tell you she is the MVP of Saints and Sinners, she is truly the MVP of Saints and Sinners. But all good things must come to an end because apparently, according to Leona, she confesses to Ella that she is dying. So she also lets Ella know that her and Christy are no longer a part of the organ harvesting ring, but we know that Leona is still having Christy do something for her that involves stealing medication from the hospital. So I don't know. You all let me know what your analysis or your theory is in the comment section below, but I truly believe that maybe Leona has Christy working on some sort of cure or trying to create some sort of cure for whatever it is that Leona is dying of, and time will tell. So that is it for this particular episode. This particular season, which is also the final season, seems like it's not going to disappoint us at all. But you all let me know what you think. What are your predictions below? And that is it. I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.